A very short sentence, but the most profound sentence. So I'm going to say most profound again, so I emphasize that, writing notes, underline. It says, the function of the mind is to create coherence between your beliefs and your reality. What does that mean? If I have a negative belief, the function of my mind is to generate a reality that matches my negative belief. I have a positive belief, then the function of the mind is to generate behavior that matches that. It's the beliefs that first shape your life, and the mind that, unfortunately, in many cases for people, takes those beliefs and uses that to create behavior. So your behavior, it didn't start on the outside. The behavior started on the inside by your beliefs. So I more or less was a cell biologist when I had a lab. And yet what's most important is every one of us is a self-biologist. Every one of us is controlling our biology. What does the illustration reveal? It reveals a brain with a pipette and a flask, and the brain is creating the culture medium in the flask, and then is using that culture medium to feed the cells. And I say, go back to the story of culture medium and cells. The composition of the culture medium controls the fate of the cells. Now I go like this. If you close your eyes and open your eyes and someone you love is in front of your face, the mind interprets love. In interpreting love, it causes a release of chemicals such as dopamine, pleasure, oxytocin, and bonding, vasopressin, attractiveness, growth hormone, health. Yes, when you fall in love, you're healthy, happy, and in pleasure. Why? The chemistry of a brain that interprets love will release those chemicals and activate the behavior in your body and adjust your genetics. You become healthy when you fall in love. But I go, wait, same individual, same person, opens their eyes and sees something that scares them, then you have a different response. In fear, you don't release the chemicals of love. You start to release stress hormones and inflammatory agents, the agents that shut off your growth and get you ready for protection. And all of a sudden you realize, well, wait a minute. As you change your mind, you change the chemistry of your culture medium. The chemistry controls your life. So it's your mind at the very top that was determining what your life is going to be by the chemistry it releases from your beliefs. So, just to give you a review, dopamine is involved with pleasure, motivation, and sadness. When you fall in love, dopamine levels go up in pleasure and motivation, sadness drops down. When you're in love, dopamine doesn't support sadness, dopamine supports pleasure and motivation. So that's why the first thing is you find this relationship and I got a lot of pleasure with being with this person. Yeah. Okay, now you got this pleasure. What's going to happen next? And I go, what happens next is that you start to release vasopressin. I say, what's vasopressin? Sexuality and attractiveness are controlled by vasopressin, so is anxiety. Relevant? When you fall in love and vasopressin levels rise, you get sexually more active, you become more attractive, you're fulfilling the nature of reproduction in this regard, and guess what? Anxiety drops out. When you're in love, anxiety is not part of the chemistry of love. Okay? But now nature says this. Where are you getting this love from? I want you to bond to that person. I go, oh yeah, well that's the next one, oxytocin. When oxytocin is released in love, it's the bonding chemistry. It's the one that says wherever you're getting that pleasure from, I want you to bond with that. That's nature saying, this is your source of pleasure, bond with it. So oxytocin is trust, attachment, and fear. But fear is when oxytocin is low. But when you're in love, oxytocin is elevated. So guess what? You have more trust in your life. You have more attachment in your life. You are bonding to the source of pleasure. So nature is saying, I want you to reproduce. Here's an individual that has the right vibes for you. When you start involving yourself with this individual, you're going to get pleasure out of it. You go, yeah, that's really great. And then it's going to make you more attractive to keep you in contact with this pleasure. But then it's going to say, but I want you to stick with this one. How long? 13 years, at least. Why? Because I need you to stay together for the sake of the next generation. You're being driven to find a love relationship. And this is what the issue is. How many times you've fallen in love and lost love and you still go out there looking for more. That's a biological imperative you're dealing with. You are driven to find that relationship because that is a way of sustaining the species. But then just to make sure you really stick with it, the fourth one, is serotonin.